Clay shooters, it's that time again.
These guys aren't just anybody. They're good.
It's time for the Dead Pair Podcast with Jason Rambo.
Does your brain hear what your mouth is saying?
And Sean Alley.
He's large and in charge.
Here to bring you all things sporting clays, from the ins and outs, tips and tricks, news and gossip from pro shooters, service and industry specialists, coaches, clubs, and more.
Often imitated, never duplicated.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, the one and only...
Welcome, everyone, to the Dead Pair Podcast.
Yeah, the Dead Pair Podcast, energized by KLMO Game Board US. What's up, Mr. Large and in charge?
I am just tickled pink right now because it's like we've been chasing the girl that kept telling us no and wouldn't let us take her out, and we're finally making that happen tonight.
This is a weird analogy.
It's a weird analogy, but it fits the bill because, and by Bill, I mean we're getting Bill McGuire on here finally. We've been chasing this man around the Sporting Clays course for the last year almost, I think,
Yeah.
and could just never ever get our schedules to line up with his.
Yep. He's a busy man.
He's a very busy man, but we've been wanting to talk to him for a long time.
Yep.
And I just can't wait to get him on the phone.
Me too. Bill is probably one of the most laid back, easy, approachable shooters out there, and
he's a crowd favorite. We
probably why he's the busiest. You know?
Yeah, probably, and he's a crowd favorite. We saw that down at the Nationals when he competed in the shoot off Friday night. Yeah, Top Gun shoot off, and every time Bill got up, everybody was he had probably the biggest cheering audience
Yes.
of anybody out there.
Absolutely. Well, hey, we're going to get to Bill here in a second. Between now and then, we've had Chad Roberts come out on questions for the coaches. Coming up, we're going to have. I'm not going to say it. I'm going to leave it a surprise. They're just going to have to subscribe to the YouTube channel.
It's a teaser, people.
It's a teaser. It's a teaser. So we got questions for the coaches coming out on YouTube. Make sure you guys are subscribing over there on our YouTube page.
Yeah, absolutely. And don't forget to send us those questions for the coaches. Send us any kind of questions regarding your shooting club, like what you like, what you don't like, things that they're doing, things that you wish they did, because we'd love to be able to kind of focus these towards some of the club managers and owners and maybe get some feedback for you.
Yes, absolutely. And you don't have to tell us your name or your club's name.
No, it can be all anonymous, but just the general idea of what's ticking around in the old noodle and why things happen at your club or why they don't happen at your club.
Yep. Good thinking. Well, hey, listen, Bill's waiting on us. Let's get to Bill McGuire.
Do it. All right, everybody. We've been waiting a long time for this. Let me emphasize long. Right now on the phone with us, we've got the man, Bill McGuire. Bill, how you doing tonight?
I am doing good. How are you guys doing?
We're doing great now that you're joining us, Bill.
We've definitely been anticipating this, and when we talked at the Nationals, we just couldn't wait until you had time to get with us. And, man, we're just excited to have you on the show tonight.
Well, I appreciate you having me. Look forward to this.
Well, Bill, if you don't mind, I want to dive right in here. I got a list of questions I wanted to ask you. I know you said that you were doing some coaching down in Florida. Where have you been doing that, and how's that going for you?
A little bit, a few different places, mostly at South Florida.
Okay.
It's going good. Got a lot of folks coming in and to do lessons, and I appreciate that. And I've been busy, which is a good thing, and I enjoy doing that. I really enjoy helping folks, and we've been real good so far.
Well, as the season gets going, will you back off coaching a little bit, or you still got some availability?
No, I do. I coach in between tournaments. I kind of always have looked at the coaching part of this as my living. And so I don't back off of that any, and anything I win in tournaments is a bonus. And I coach year round. Gotcha.
Well, you got to take it easy on the young guys now. You can't beat up on them. You got to leave a little bit of prize money for them. So.
Yeah, no, they've been taking it all from us old guys here lately.
that young whippersnapper Joe Finizzi's tearing it up, isn't he?
Oh, he's great shot, great young man. More importantly,
yes,
and yes, he is shooting very, very well. Proud of him, proud for him.
Yeah.
Well, Bill, no offense, but you've been in the game a long time. You've seen a lot of things change, and I guess my biggest question, maybe a question a lot of people want to know, from the time you got started to where you are now, what are some of the biggest changes that you've witnessed in the game so far?
Probably there's so many things that have changed. You know, I tell a lot of people this sport is not any different than any other that we've watched over the years. It's evolved. There's so many things. The guns have got better. The machines, the target throwers have got better. They're more versatile. The targets have got more technical, have got longer. The shooters have got smarter and better. The target setters are smart. I mean, just there's so many things that has evolved and got better in the sport. The ammo has got better. Everything. It's just really evolved I put it this way. I would hate to have started when I did, quit for 10 or 15 years and tried to come back. It's changed that much.
That's what Sean and I
That's exactly what we've been dealing with, because when we started shooting in the 90s, only shot for a brief while, and then we both took a pretty long hiatus, and we came back to this, and it's like, whoa, this is way different than what we recall. So.
Oh, yeah. I can remember one of my little clubs there around the house that I started at, when they opened up an area and threw a crossing. All the little courses I'm talking about had handset machines when I started. And when they threw a 35-yard crosser, oh, nobody could believe how far that target was, and a shotgun would break it, you know. And now, you know, I mean, that's if you set a whole course of 30-yarders, everybody complains it was too easy.
Right. Well, me and Jason remember the same thing. We used to go out to places with his dad and his dad's friends, and again, you had your trapper that went with you. They're the ones that pulled the targets. And, you know, I kind of reminiscing a little bit here, but, you know, last year I went to my first Gator Cup, and you know what kind of targets Doug Vine sets, you know. And I often wonder, it's like, you know, from where we started, where this sport was supposed to emulate hunting and birds and things like that you'd see in the field, and then I'm watching these targets, you know, these 60-yard Shondells and these 70-yard, you know, springing teals. I mean, have we gotten too far out of the norm? Because I don't know too many bird hunters that are going to take 60, 70-yard shots at pheasants and stuff and feel good about it. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. There's times, like I said, you know, that I think sometimes they can get over the top. I don't mind seeing a big target here and there, 2 or 3 or 4 stations on a course. But one thing I always did when I set targets, if I threw a big bird for somebody to shoot at, I always give them the other target. And so, you know, I think it's good, you know, that we have that and experience that and learn to shoot that kind of stuff. But sometimes, you know, if they get a little carried away and throw too many of that kind of stuff, it can make it not fun for a lot of people. And it's not fun. It's not fun for, you know, the top shooters too. You know, that's
well, that's what I was going to say. I imagine the level of competition as it's gotten stiffer. I mean, you as a target setter, you pretty much have to cater to the guys that are at the top, because if you set nothing but stuff that, you know, puts them to sleep, you're not going to get invited back, right?
Right. Yeah, that's true too. Yeah. So you got to have a good mix for everybody.
Gotcha.
You know.
Gotcha.
Well, while we're talking about target setting, you're setting the targets for the Indiana State down at the sporting club at the farm down in Indiana, right?
Yes. Good friend of mine, Bobby Brooks' club, and he got the Indiana State awarded to him this year, and I'm going to help him with that. I'm going to set the targets for him. So we'd like to get everybody we could come out and enjoy that shoot. He's got a real nice place there. Done a really good job with it.
Yes, he does. Yep. We were down where I went down. Sean wasn't able to make it down. And toured the club and shot some with him, and he really does have a nice place for sure.
He does. He's
done a lot of work there, too.
He sure has. Yeah, him and Little Jack, his partner there, they have really, really done a lot.
Yes, for sure. Well, Bill, listen, with all due respect, you're starting to get a couple years on you now, like most of us are. What do you do to keep fuel in the tank on a long day of competing? You know, if you've been, you know, you shot 200 targets that day, and then, man, now you got a shoot off at, 7 o'clock at night or something. How do you keep fuel in the tank and keep going?
Well, the first thing that I do anymore, I see that the older I get, definitely got to have great nights of sleep, and try and stay hydrated. And as far as the mental side of competing, I've never had a problem fueling that. I love to compete, and but the older we get, like you said, the physical part of it gets a little tougher, and
Right.
I've really, I've really got to have a good night's sleep, plenty of rest, and plenty of drink, stay hydrated good. And then while I'm out there shooting, I always try to have some good things in my cooler, to snack on as I go to
Hmm.
kindly help with energy. But you gotta manage your health, and try to keep that part of it good, because like I said, the mental part of it, I never have had a problem in competing. I love that, but we physically, now as I get older, you physically get tired, and that can affect your mental side too. So
Absolutely.
I really try to manage my sleep good, and try to eat right and drink plenty of fluids.
Well, what about training, Bill? Do you still train seriously before events, or like in the off season? How do you do it these days compared to days gone by?
Probably don't shoot as much as I used to. Now, like I said, I'd let myself get a little overweight, so I'm walking a little bit every time I get a chance, and ride a bicycle, and trying to get myself in a little better physical shape. But I never have been a real big person as far as shooting a pile of targets.
Mm-hmm.
I always felt like what I do in my game, and what I do as I'm shooting, I've always felt pretty simple to do, and I work on it a lot mentally as I'm driving, or sitting someplace. But yeah, I've never been a big person on burning a lot of shells. It's always made sense to me a little more that when I went out and practiced, to practice on, uh, stuff that you may not feel, 100% confidence in, and
Mm-hmm.
try to strengthen that and work on your strengths. And but I just never have been a great big practice shooter as far as shooting a pile of targets, and that's
Gotcha.
just me. Everybody's a little different. So
Gotcha. Gotcha.
So I'm going to steal a question of Sean's. He loves to ask this question to everybody. Can you think of one small change that you made to your shooting that netted you the biggest gains? Like one
sure.
small change to your program that, man, you really started picking up from there.
Absolutely. There's been a little minute changes throughout the years, and in your physical part of your setup and your that kind of stuff. But I would have to definitely say vision. I've worked really, really hard on my vision, on learning how to look at a target, learning how to look at a bird quicker,
Mm-hmm.
and probably have put most of my focus on that vision. I've always felt like if I could see a bird a fourth of a second quicker than the next guy, I had an advantage. And, to our brain, the better we can see that target, and the sooner we can see that target, is just more information to our hands.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, that's a huge advantage. And I hope I never quit learning to get better with my vision. But that's first and foremost. I work really, really hard on that continually to be very, very good as I can be with my eyes.
It's been a few years now since you had that surgery, kind of like what they do with cataracts, where they replace your
Hmm.
back lenses. Have
Right.
you, how, so no problems, no issues, still everything's been great for you?
Oh, very good. Yeah, 2010, just superb. I just can't believe, even it's been 4 years, and how well I see. And it's really been life changing. Don't have to wear my glasses anymore. And when they got my glasses right, I was 2010 in those, but my stigmatism had got so bad, it got to where they couldn't build my glasses right anymore. So that's the main reason I done it. But I'm glad I did. It's been a really life changing vision wise for me.
Well, that's what my optometrist wants me to have between the presbyopia and the cataracts that I have. And I just, oof, that's a big bill to swallow. So,
Hmm.
because,
Oh, it's scary. When I had mine done, I went in to do the first eye, and they was sitting there explaining. They had me hooked up, kind of wasn't under, and the staff that I went to, Dr. Loden, super good people, and they had me under a little sedative, and they explained to me what they were getting ready to do. They were going to shatter my lens and suck it out of my eye, and they had me monitored. And the one lady on the one side said, "Bill, your heart rate just went up. Your blood pressure going up." I said, "Well, you're fixing to tear up what I do for a living." I said, "I'm a little nervous about this."
Right.
Wow.
But it all went great, and glad I done it.
Gotcha. Well, Bill, as we've been talking, I mean, the game's changed a lot. You've come a long way. You've seen a lot of changes in the game. What about you? Are you still using like the same techniques and methods when you started out as you are today?
Absolutely.
Are you? Okay.
Absolutely. Yep. And it's funny that you mentioned that. I had a good friends of mine, couple out of California that come and do lessons with me, and they did it for a long time, and then they quit shooting. They didn't compete, but they loved to shoot, and they used to come. They'd take lessons from me 3, 4, 5 times a year. And then they quit and got into handguns, which is fine, and shot handguns for 4 or 5 years. And then they got back into sporting clays and started doing lessons with me again. And they, when she was in the cage, husband and wife, when she was in the cage, he would always film her, and then vice versa. When he was in the cage, she would film him. And the first lesson they came back after 5 or 6 years, we're out there about halfway through the lesson, and she breaks out an old video and turns it on, and I'm listening to it, and I looked at her and I said, "Am I that boring? I'm saying the same thing now."
Well, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right?
That's right.
That's right. That's right. And I have. I've lived by what I do from day one when I started. So.
Gotcha. So as far as your regimen goes, are you more of a sustained lead guy, a pull away guy, a swing through guy? I mean, what's Bill's go-to method on most targets?
Most of the time, if I can stay there, maintain. I like to control from out front, and I get that question a lot, and I say, "Well, I know how to shoot them all." If I had to, there's times, with the way they present us with a pair of targets, and you got to sweep the second bird to get there. Mm-hmm. So we got to know how to shoot them all. We got to be versatile. But if I could pick one and stay with all the time, 100% of the time, which you can't sometimes, but is maintain. I love to control from out front.
Gotcha.
Well, Bill, do you have any pet peeves when you're out shooting? I mean, I'm asking because you're a pretty laid-back guy, but is there anything that gets under your skin, a noisy golf cart or a squad member that won't shut up long enough for you to shoot your 3 pair? Or is there anything that one of your pet peeves about shooting that you wish people would pay attention to?
I really don't. If things like that day or a certain, is bothering me, I'm not doing my job. I'm not, my mind's not in where I need to be. When I'm really in the game, I don't care what anybody's doing behind me. I don't even know they're there. And the days that it's doing that, it's not them, it's me. But I don't really have anything that bothers me while I'm out there shooting.
Gotcha.
Can't say nothing bothers me much. I always tell everybody, you can't rattle a man that's already rattled.
That's true words right there.
Yeah, right?
That's right.
Well, okay, so here's one, and this might go back a little bit to your training. By now you've obviously have fine-tuned your tournament day regimen. What does that look like for you, Bill? I mean, what take us through your day of competing from start to finish, your regimen, your routine.
Mm-hmm. Well, the first thing, like I said, that I make sure I really do the nights before I shoot is sleep first, get a good night's sleep, eat a good breakfast, and then myself, to me, it's settling my mind, quiet. A lot of times, and you've done it, we've all done it, get around a lot of people and talk about this, talk about that. To me, the day of a competition, I try not to do that very much. To me, it gets my mind busy. And the main thing I'm trying to do after my good night's sleep, my good breakfast, and I'm headed to shoot, I want quiet time. I want to settle my brain and focus a little bit on what I'm getting ready to do. And to me, that's the most important, keeping my mind quiet.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think Wendell even said it, that he believes good shooting comes from a very quiet mind. And,
absolutely.
And I think there's a lot of value in that. Really, I do.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can have the right technique, the right stance, the right everything. But if your blood pressure's through the roof and your mind's going 100 mile an hour, you're not going to have a good day of shooting.
No, you're not. Not at all. And one thing, that people listening to this, and I want them to try this, is one thing I've learned over the years in our shooting is, and I'm going to go back to the vision part, that a lot of people don't think about or maybe not understand, but really work on that vision as far as getting really good at seeing the target and trying to get yourself to pick the target up quicker. One thing that you never hear anybody talk about, and I've always felt, that's the better I get with my vision, the better I see the target, the more patience that creates for us mentally. And when I say that, you got to have patience in your setup after you've called pull, and in order to hook up to the target, let that bird run into your setup, wherever you're set up on that particular target, to get hooked up to that bird to where you can do what you want to with it. But a lot of people don't realize the better vision we have, the more patience that creates, and that's a good thing.
Yeah, I totally agree, because I can vouch for. I mean, I've not been shooting as long as you have, Bill, but I know when we got started, I used to be a tad bit on the aggressive side. I still am. I mean, I would go up to a station with a plan, and I'd say, okay, here's my hold point, here's my break point, and boy, I tell you what, eight or 9 times out of 10, it seems like I was rushing myself. I was trying to take that bird before the break point when I'd put in my mind where I was going to kill it. And that messed me up more times than I can recall. So I've learned to kind of back down a little bit and just, stick with what you're planning and follow it through. And usually that works out okay, right? I mean, it doesn't get you, getting in a hurry isn't going to help you, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Exactly right. Yeah, exactly right. And this is me. Like I said, now this is just me. I don't know, how a lot of the other guys go about it, but I'll get people to ask me, want a pair of targets or something. They'll say, Bill, where should my hold point be? Well, I really can't answer that. We're all a little different when it comes to that. Mm-hmm. But one thing I always ask them, and to me, that's getting the cart ahead of the horse. I said, I always kindly establish my kill zone first before I can ever think about getting set up right for my hold point.
Absolutely.
And I've always worked from out at my kill zone back to the machine.
Gotcha. And, that's good advice.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense too.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Well, Bill, our podcast is all about trying to get the new shooter or the intermediate shooter better. And in your mind, what is some of the keys to getting a new shooter better quickly?
Lessons. Absolutely. I'm not tooting my horn, not that they would come to me, but back when we started back years ago, and there was guys that started way before I did even, but the instructor field or regiment that's out there now, we didn't have. And definitely these new shooters coming on, I would suggest getting some good instructions before you create bad habits. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Gotcha. And then under basically the same header, as the sport has progressed over these years, and it's kind of, some people complain that it's kind of stayed a little stagnant. Is there anything in your mind that either the people in the sport or the people that are organizing the sport could do to help it grow more and expand?
Well, I tell you what, and they've tried it, which I don't think, and I'm not give up on it yet, but I think one of the things that would have really helped us is by getting us on TV. And I don't know that that's ever going to happen because we're dealing with guns. I mean, that's just plain and simple. But other than that, I think a lot of people that are heading up all of these 4-H and this SCTP programs, and now in high schools and in colleges, and I mean, you look at Texas A&M, Clemson, a lot of the big schools and stuff are really promoting the sport, and that's the life of our sport, is getting the youth involved. Yeah. And they are doing a lot of great things with the kids in the schools, and I think that's just huge for the sport.
Well, Jason and I were able to go to the SCTP Nationals last summer at Cardinal. And I mean, what was it, Jason? 3,500 kids, I think was.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
more than that.
That's pretty staggering. I mean, we went to the Nationals last year for the first time, and we saw all the shooters there. But man, I'll tell you what, there was a lot of daggone kids there, and that spoke volumes about how many people are involved in this sport. So it was really neat to witness.
It is, and I think it's just a great thing. I've worked with a lot of the kids, had the privilege to do that, and a lot of great kids out there, and a lot of great talent coming on. And another thing I think with today's times, getting them involved in this is so key to keeping them on the right track, keeping them out of trouble, you know.
Yeah. Well, Bill, I want to circle back to you personally for a minute. And this is kind of a two-part question. What's kept you going so long? And do you see yourself continuing to travel the circuit and competing as much as you are?
I do. You know, as long as my health holds out, I've been very blessed, had a great career, and I don't feel like it's over. And probably the fuel, like what we're talking about, there's my will to compete. I love it. You know, I love to fish, love to bass fish, and people say, you know, Bill, when you go home, do you practice with your gun much? I said, no, I don't. I'll grab my boat and I'll go compete in bass tournaments. And as far as the competing part mentally, that's the same to me. And I love.
Is it really?
It's a change. Yeah, it's a change, you know, from shooting to fishing, but the competing part is still the same. And that's how I think that's what really helps keep me going is the will to. I love it. I love to compete. I always have.
Well, there's a lot of new stuff coming up in our sport. I mean, especially like AFS. Have you shot any AFS tournaments yet?
You know, I haven't. I've heard about it, and I have not competed in any of that yet, but I will this year. I want to see what it's all about. Everybody that shot it said they like it, so I'd like to try that this year.
Good deal.
Yep.
Absolutely love it. To me, it's a really fun game.
Well, good.
You like fee task. And I would say that the Whitefield, which is the one that somewhat mimics FETASC, I'd say you would probably enjoy that the most.
Mm-hmm.
But they've got 4 fields. I mean, they got a flavor for everyone, really.
Yeah, no doubt. It's interesting. Mark and his team have done a great job on getting that sport up off the ground.
Well, good. Well, I'll definitely check it out this year.
All right, Bill. Well, you know, I was going to ask you, you kind of touched on it there about the bass tournaments, and I know you're a big bass fisherman, and you're also a bird hunter, right? Does anything correlate from sporting clays, what you do there, to, you know, other than competing, does anything correlate between your bird hunting and your bass fishing right back to sporting clays?
Well, I do the bird hunting to kind of relax.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoy doing that. Love wing shooting, you know, simulates, you know, what we do in our clay shooting, and I love being out in nature, you know. And then when we shoot our clay shoots, you know, we're out in the open, and you know, just anything outdoors I really like and kind of relate to. So
awesome.
Well, Bill, we do a thing called rapid fire questions, and I was going to let Sean do this, but the last time he did it, he screwed it all up. So I'm going to take it from him.
Okay.
I never claimed to be perfect. Remember that.
All right, Bill. So the first question on our rapid fire is gun. What make and model gun do you have?
Blaser Super Luxus.
And is that 32-inch barrel or?
It is 32s. Yep. Ported.
And it is ported. Okay. Is it factory ported or?
No. Charlie Boswell does all of my porting on my barrels.
And that's comp and choke, right?
That is comp and choke. Yes, that's chokes I shoot. I've been with Charlie since 1998.
Wow, that's awesome. Do you have a go-to constriction, or do you change pretty frequently?
It all depends on the course. If I'm shooting a course that's pretty relative, you know, and what I mean by that, if everything's out there at that 25, 30 yard range out to 40, 45, I may never and probably wouldn't ever take my 15s out. They're probably my favorites.
Really?
But, yeah, if they jam me up and stick a close rabbit or bird or whatever, I'll put my cylinder in a heartbeat. Yep.
Very cool. Okay. And let's see, custom stock or factory stock?
I'm shooting a factory stock, super sport stock on my blazer.
Are you really? Okay.
Uh-huh.
And what shells do you shoot?
I shoot for Fiocchi.
What recipe?
I'm probably 90% 8s.
Okay.
And I always tote a few 7.5s for if I get a bad windy day. You know, I may shoot all 7.5s. I think they buck the wind a little better than the 8s. And if they throw a real long rabbit for me, you know, or something with a lot of length with no spring, I will put the 7.5s to it.
Gotcha. And so are you shooting the little rhinos or the white rhinos?
both.
Oh, really? So you're an ounce and a half,
Yeah.
or I'm sorry, ounce and an eighth and a 1 ounce guy.
I am, yes. Yes.
Wow, you're the first guest that said that. That's impressive. Okay, and then vest or shell bag?
I'm shooting a vest. Yep.
What-
Shoot for Castellani.
Okay. Glasses?
Castellani.
Oh, really? Cast only glasses. Okay. And your hearing protection?
Sound gear. I've been with them 15 years.
Wow. Awesome.
Yep. Very good.
Well, Bill, I've told everybody my favorite podcast of all time was the one you did. I think it was called Stories with Bill McGuire, back when it was behind the break. And, you know, I still tell everybody the story of you in the boat and turning the lights on and being right in the middle of 100 mallards.
Yeah.
Before we let you go, you got to give us another story. You got to have one brewing.
Well, I got, let me tell you one on Wendell.
Okay.
All right.
We were fishing one day, and he stuck one about 2.5 pounder, and he's got him caught on a crankbait, and the fish is going nuts by the boat. And I said, Wendell, and he's going to lip it. And I said, Wendell, watch that. Don't lip that fish. I said, just lift him into the boat. I said, you're liable to get a treble in the hand. I didn't get that out of my mouth. And he was hung. It was buried in his thumb, and I get to go over and help him. I get the fish off. So, and he's sitting there with the lure hanging and the fish flipping, and it's hung in his thumb. So I said, hang on. So I get up there and I get the fish off the bait, and I said, hang on, I'll get it out. And I reach around and grab my pliers. And the first thing out of his mouth, you're not going to use those, are you? I said, yes. I said, hang on here. And I had a hold of his wrist, and boy, he was not wanting me to do this. And I grab a hold of that hook, and I get it turned kindly to where I can tell which way it went in there. And I said, Wendell, I'm going to count to 3. And right when I said the word 3, I jerked that thing out of there before I started counting. But anyway, he was worried about me taking that hook out of his hand, but I got him fixed up. And we went on fishing. So,
that's funny.
That's a funny story right there. Great story, Bill.
Well, Bill, I know you've been really busy coaching, and I appreciate you spending some time with us. We sincerely appreciate it, and we look forward to seeing you to shoot here soon.
well, good. I appreciate you guys and appreciate you having me on. And I enjoyed that very much with you.
All right. Well,
Thanks, Bill.
We really appreciate it, Bill. Thank you so much, and have a great 2022.
All right. Thank you. And you guys too.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right. See you. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye.
Always great to catch up with Bill, isn't it, Sean?
Yeah, he's a great guy. Been around, a lot of experience, a lot of history.
Hey, everyone, if you're interested in a lesson with Bill, we talked to him again after we got off the phone. I called him back. We forgot to ask. He asked that we extend his phone number, which is area code 423-464-9073. If you'd like a lesson with Bill, he said, please feel free to give him a call.
Yeah, and obviously he's a busy guy, so try to hurry up and get your lesson scheduled in advance.
Absolutely. Well, Sean, let's touch base real quick with a sponsor segment, and we'll be right back. All right, on the phone with us for this RE Ranger segment is Hannah Harens. How you doing?
Hi, I'm good. How are you guys doing?
We're doing great, Hannah, for our listeners out there, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, what class you shoot in, and what's your age, and
where you're from?
And where you're from. Yeah, sorry, I was getting there. Sorry.
Sure. So I'm Hannah. I'm 22 years old. I shoot in Connecticut and Massachusetts, primarily New England. I go to school in Mass right now. Just a little background on my shooting experience. I took the hunter safety course when I was 12 years old. And when I got to the shooting portion, it was my first time shooting a shotgun. I didn't really know what to expect. I was given a standard 12 gauge pump with 1 1/8 ounce loads. And, you know, I didn't really have the best experience with that as a young female. Yeah. So around that time, the New England SCTP was just getting started, and Hank and Mary Garvey, who've done a great job making the shooting sports more approachable for younger athletes. So later that year, I met my coach, Bob Butler, who started a team at my local club in Connecticut. He introduced me to the games of skeet trap and sporting. And we went on this journey together to really help me succeed in the sport, which included learning about, gun fit, eye dominance, mental training, all those important things. So now I've been competing for multiple years in SCTP through all the disciplines of skeet, trap, and sporting. I shoot registered targets, and now I'm shooting in college and trying to get as many new people involved in the sport as possible.
Awesome. Very nice.
Yeah.
So this segment is on RE Ranger. Tell us, what was your decision in choosing RE Ranger?
Sure. So I started wearing Rangers 7 years ago now. It's been quite some time. So when I first started wearing them, I just reached a point in my shooting career where I was really ready to upgrade my glasses from whatever, cheaper version I had before to something that really gave me the flexibility and multiple conditions, could help me see birds better. So at some shoots, I had tried some Rangers on a few times before, and I was just so impressed with the clarity of the lenses and how much more detail I could see on the targets. And Rangers always been super supportive of youth shooting. So I actually bought my first pair of Rangers through a team order. And I wear them obviously for shooting clays, but I also really like to wear them for hunting and out in the field for many different things. So
very cool. So did you go with the Ranger Edge or which one did you end up going with?
Yeah, I started with the original Falcons. I moved on to Falcon Sport, and now I'm on the Falcon Pros. So I really like the wrap around with the unobstructed view through the lenses.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I shoot with. Those are great. Any particular color combinations that you like to go with that you know of offhand?
Yeah, so recently I've started using their React AI lenses, which I absolutely love. It's really impressive to me how the glasses, it seems so neutral when you look through them through the background, but the clays just pop out so vividly. It's not that they're more orange or bright or anything, but it just seems like you can see the detail a lot better. So I've been really liking all those lenses. But in the really bright conditions, one of my favorites still is their CMT lenses. So I also shoot in those. Like this morning I shot in the snow, and those were perfect for the glare off the snow this morning. So
very cool. So
yeah.
I understand with glasses, this may be a little bit of a tricky question, but if you had one favorite feature you could pick out, what would that be?
Definitely, I want to say the comfort and how well they stay on. I feel like I'm central dominant, so I wear a spot over my left eye to help me with that. And the Rangers stay on my face perfectly. I'm able to stay right in place, and obviously just the way I'm able to see the detail on the target. I know it's not one thing, but there's so many things about them that I could pick out that I like and that help me see targets better. So
gotcha. Well, Hannah, if anybody was considering getting glasses, and especially what you said, going from your basic standard safety shooting glasses, and they're moving up into a more serious set. I mean, obviously there's lots of choices out there. Why did you choose Ranger? And I guess, what would you tell people if they're kind of on the fence about getting a pair of Ranger glasses?
Yeah, I definitely reach out to the company. I mean, they're very approachable people. They're all wonderful to work with. I know personally, in the past, I had issues with my glass, common breakage over time, wear and tear. And there's right before an event one time, and I emailed them and they overnighted me a pair of frames. And
wow,
just the level of customer service that they have is great. And like I said, just talk to them, try out the pairs if you can. I mean, seeing them on the field is better than anything else you'll be able to do. And if someone else is wearing them, ask if you can look through them. I know many people are very open to letting others try their glasses. So just get your hands on them if you can is the best advice I could give.
Very good. That's very well said and very well spoken, Hannah. We appreciate you spending some time with us. I mean, this has been awesome.
Yeah, definitely.
Thanks so much for having me on.
Well, good luck in your 2022 season, Hannah. Hopefully we'll see you out on the course sometime.
Definitely. Thanks so much, guys.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Well, Jason, we waited a very long time to have that conversation with that man.
Yes.
What do you think?
I'm just still humbled.
Yeah, he's a really nice guy.
Yes,
I mean, he's a super nice guy, and he's definitely been around. He's seen a lot.
Yes, and he's definitely been there at the top. I can't remember what year it was. I think he won just about every single regional and the national championship. I can't remember what. You would have to look that up, but he won almost every single regional.
Well, we didn't even go into talking to him about his accomplishments or his awards or anything because we would have been here all night doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. That guy's accomplished a lot.
Yeah,
so
no doubt.
But definitely an authority in the sport.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to seeing him again when we get down to the Jack Links tournament, or about when this gets released. We'll be there, and hopefully we'll be rubbing elbows with Bill and swapping stories.
Yes, we'll have to come back. Oh my gosh, that cracked me up. That fish in the
That was great.
the hook in the thumb with Wendell. My goodness,
That was great.
So, well, hey, listen, we're gonna run. I don't want this one to run long because our interview with Bill ran a little bit long. But send us those questions for the coaches. Send us questions for the clubs. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. And thank you very much to Bear Pelt, Atlas, Odo Pro, Negrini, Rhino Chokes, Ranger, KL Ammo, Game Boy US, and White Flyer. Thank you very much. Sean?
See you guys back here the next time.
Wait a minute. Where are you going?
Oh, am I rushing again?
You're forgetting. Take some. Jeez, people.
Sorry.
You'll have to forgive him. This is his first time doing. What is this? Episode 65 or
It's
something?
episode
and you're not.
1.5.2 or something
Oh
like
my
that.
goodness.
Take somebody out shooting. Take them to a tournament. Introduce them to this fun sport. Show them what kind of a good time they can have, and hopefully we'll get another person addicted and out there shooting with you.
And until next week.
We'll see you back here on the Dead Pair Podcast.